Hey everyone, William here, and I am here to give you a quick recap of American Ninja Warrior Ninja vs. Ninja Episode 1. The show premiered last week, and personally I thought it was a good episode. It wasn't great, but it was really good, I would say. So, I explained the format last time, and I think the new point system is definitely better overall. You don't get a sense that one person can completely carry the team, although there's still a way to help your team out, I feel like. And so let's just get right into it. So first up was Beast from the East versus the Hashtag Ninjas. I had originally picked Beast from the East for this matchup, and already I was wrong right away. So for first up was James McGrath versus Nicholas Coolridge. It was kind of interesting. They actually showed James in Sasuke. This first race was actually really great and really exciting. It was actually probably one of my favorites of the entire episode. James unfortunately made a mistake and went out on... he didn't go out. He got wet on the ring toss. He dismounted, I think, a bit too early. Probably should have had one more peg. And he got wet, and he tried catching Nicholas on the warped wall, but he slipped off. Really close finish there. I guess for this course, the obstacle order was the Sonic Swing, the Tick-Tock, except it's only the second half, so I guess the Tock. The crisscross ring toss, which I have a few issues with. I'll explain it a little bit. The shelf grab, the floating tiles. Floating tiles was before the shelf grab, my bad. Floating tiles, shelf grab, and then the warped wall. So then was Eric Cook versus Larissa Cottle. Originally, I think one of the big reasons I didn't go with Hashtag Ninjas in my prediction was just because Larissa was a big question mark for me personally. I didn't know much about her, and I didn't know what to expect. But she ended up beating Erica Cook. Basically, Erica had the lead, but went out on the floating tiles, and Erica was able to, I guess, benefit from going further. That's kind of how it works in Team Ninja Warrior or / Ninja versus Ninja. And then Dave Cavanagh was he had to save the Beast from the East. One thing I didn't take account in my prediction is that Dave is the only person to not have surgery from Beast of the East this in recent memory, and I hope he did well enough to not have to be another walk-on next year for A&W. I know that's one of the things that James told me he wanted to accomplish, was really showcase how great David is, and he was good. He ended up being just the Flair, and they ended up going into their first relay of the season. And in the end, it was a close race, but the Hashtag Ninjas ended up pulling it out. Was there anything interesting that kind of stood out? Nothing really. It was just they were in the end. Jess LaFleur at the very end was able to edge out James McGrath and ended up taking the win 3-1. So for the second episode, it was Team Ronin versus Team West Coast Warriors. All right, good. And so, very interesting. So first up was J.J. Woods versus J.B. Douglas. Now, J.J. Woods, oh man, I don't get why they did this. They really tried to paint it as the boxer versus the parkour guy. Except, like, J.J. Woods is a parkour guy also, besides just being a boxer. Like, he was on Jump City, Seattle, for peak's sakes. Like, who are you trying to kid? Anyway, they both finished, but JJ ended up taking the lead at the ring toss, ended up winning. So going up 1-0. That was Meagan Martin versus Lindsey Eskildsen. Oof. So this was a bit serious. Meagan ended up winning because she finished first, and Lindsey fell on the shelves. But man, Meagan hit her head when doing the first shelf toss, and when they did the replay, they did a very comical bonking sound when she hit her head. It was weird because it felt like they were trying to make light of it, but I guess they were also trying to like emphasize when the hit actually happened. It's very, very unusual, but I guess they said that she was okay, so hopefully that was the case. And then came down to Flip Rodriguez and Alan Connealy. God, the presentation here was a little funny. They did this whole thing with Flip where they're like, oh, you know, he's doing all this charity work. He was doing all this work helping other kids who have been victims of sexual abuse, which is great. I think it's great that he's doing that. But they did this big profile piece for him, and then they play Alan Connealy's entrance music, and I just started breaking out laughing because it made him look like a huge heel compared to Flip. It's like he's the bad guy trying to take down this sexual abuse helper. Oh, the poor Alan. Alan's good. Unfortunately, he had to go up against Flip, and in an effort to catch up with Flip, Alan went out in the ring, so Team Ronin ends up sweeping 3-0. The whole nighttime aesthetic, I'm kind of on the fence if I like it better. The entrances with like all the smoke and stuff, that's cool. So the final matchup, I was half right. It was Team Ronin versus Team #Ninjas. So this added 3 extra obstacles for the extended 9 course for all the races. So after the warped wall is the salmon ladder, and then a pair of like mini rumbling dice, and finally the zigzag climb, which is a spider walk that kind of goes up, then down, and then up again, and that's the finish. So a bit of interesting end. Meagan Martin is essentially the MVP of Team Ronin here, because both JJ and Flip ended up going out on their heats and losing, but Meagan was able to win her run. And so kind of had a bit of an issue here with the rings. It seems like there seems to be a bit of an inconsistency or sort of an unknown factor of what the rules for contact is when it comes to the ring toss, because JJ at one point grabbed Nicholas Coolridge's ring as he was on the ring also, and they were like bumping into each other. I don't know, like this isn't American Gladiators, you know, this is Ninja Warrior. And also I kind of have an issue because like during the relay both times, Meagan essentially was able to block out Larissa, and as a result she was able to build herself up a big lead for her team, large enough that the other two can win, even though the men on the #Ninja were arguably faster. I'm not really a fan of like having an obstacle that you can completely block out. I don't know if there was much that Larissa can do without like risking falling off. But I don't know, like I like the pole grasper in Team Ninja Warrior, because like even though, you know, you can block your with your body, the opponent can still get around it. I'm not really a fan of this whole idea that Larissa, even if she's trying to like use her body to throw off Meagan, like, I mean, she essentially has to wait for Meagan to do something. There's not much she can do. I wasn't a fan of kind of like of Akbar and Matt giving her a hard time. It's like, well, I mean, Larissa's trying not to fall also, because if she falls, Meagan automatically wins, and so yeah, I'm not really a fan of that. But basically they did back-to-back relays, and both times Team Ronin won thanks to Meagan. So largely thanks to Meagan Martin, Team Ronin wins and are moving on to the playoffs. #Ninjas will be moving on to the wildcard rounds, and the other two teams will have to see if they get extra wildcard spots as well. So to wrap things up, let's do a quick predictions for next week's episode. So for next week, first up we have Dark Horse, which is led by Lance Picus, joined by Tammy McClure and Carson Voiles, going against Midwest Muscle, which is headed by Tyler Yamauchi, Christy Pratt, and Ethan Swanson. Ethan's good, man. Ethan's really good. Tyler's good too. Chrissy, she's probably one of the stronger women. I would say mid-tier. I don't remember who Tammy is. I recognize that name. I don't remember anything. I'm gonna go with Midwest Muscle. I feel like they have an advantage on Ninja Warrior overall. And then the second half will be LeBreakfast Club, which I'm pretty sure is supposed to be headed by Jesse LeBrecht, but the USA website lists John Alexis Jr. as the captain for some reason. Either way, they're also joined by Chris DeGangi, and they're going up against Team Tarzan, which is joined by, who is Ben Mielik, Emmy Rose, and Travis Wineland. Honestly, like, I think Le Breakfast Club probably has the advantage here. Jessie's definitely one of the topper tier women on the course, and I know John and Chris can definitely go, so I think Le Breakfast Club is the favorite here, and I think they're going to move on. And between Midwest Muscle and Le Breakfast Club, man, that is a tough pick. Man, you know, Normally I would say Le Breakfast Club, but I just got this feeling that Midwest Muscle is going to pull it out. I could be completely wrong, but that's going to be my pick for next week's episode, Midwest Muscle. So that's it for my thoughts on the first episode of Ninja vs. Ninja. It was overall a good episode. I enjoyed it. There was a few hiccups that I wasn't a big fan of, like with the ring toss. I wasn't a big fan of that. But overall I liked it. It was enjoyable. There was a few exciting runs. The format, makes things a little more unpredictable, but at the same time a little bit predictable, because you can look at the clock and see how much time is left and be like, okay, well, I know this is the last race, or I know this is not the last race as a result. So, but that's just kind of the nature of what happens when you make a show a little bit more fair. So that's everything. Let me know what you think in the comments below of the episode, whether you liked it, you disliked it, and make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Until then, goodbye.